we need to be listened to, we need to be heard. And we had kind of like a major exodus of a good chunk of us that said, we're done. No more. And we'll do our own thing.
How challenging? It's challenging. Tell me one of the good stories about the old girl mariachi. How is that having all these personalities?
Yeah.
Give us something good about experiences that you faced.
Well, the first all-female mariachi I was a part of was called Las Adelitas. And my friend Lorraine, she wasn't even my friend then, we had played at the Hollywood Bowl together when we were 14 years old. It was one of the first stages I actually ever walked on, which is so incredible, right? Like the first one I get a chance to get on is like the Hollywood Bowl, like people up to the grass and the lights crazy. It was just an amazing experience in 1990. And we met there. Later on, I don't know, many years later, 7 years later, Lorraine broke her arm and they called me and said, we really need a replacement. We're going to play the Hollywood Bowl in 3 weeks. And can you do this? And I said, yes, of course I can. I had auditioned for Reinas de Los Angeles years before that, and it didn't make it. But I had always kind of been interested in being in a female mariachi. So the Adelitas gave me a chance. And there I was at the Hollywood Bowl a couple weeks later. Another thrilling moment of my life. And from there, I met so many girls, other girls. We were young girls, and we started to perform. We did many festivals, stuff like that. And then our director, we started to have problems. Being a female with a very strong male director, you hear all these things. Oh, do they treat you badly? Males in this business, it's not that they mean to treat you badly. I don't think that people are out there with a vendetta against women that they want to, I guess I just have a big heart. I don't want to see that like machismo, to say everybody's like that and men are like that. I don't really like that attitude, because without men, we need them. And I appreciate all the guidance and the teaching that they've given to me as a musician. However, sometimes, they get a little machista and they get a little bit mean and they get a little bit, exigente. It's like having those coaches. I was in sports, so I was kind of used to that too. But sometimes se pasan, sometimes they go a little too far and they can't treat women this way. It's just not right in our culture even, right? You just can't treat women this way. And I think as young, educated women, I was already at UCLA. I mean, you can't do that. You can't talk to me that way. My dad doesn't talk to me that way. So why am I going to allow you to talk to me that way? So I think it was just kind of this feeling among us, we kind of did an uprising, we need to be listened to, we need to be heard. And we had kind of like a major exodus of a good chunk of us that said, we're done, no more. And we'll do our own thing. And this group that we formed afterwards was probably in LA. I think it was the first group in LA that was really ran by women, like no male director, no male force, owner. It was Las Alondras, and we just decided to go for it. And we did. We went to the Hollywood Bowl again as Las Alondras, 2 years, two different years. And we managed ourselves, and we were moving and shaking in Los Angeles and elsewhere, in the state. So, it was the first time I think we all realized, like looking at each other like, oh, we did this, and it's possible. And the sky's the limit for us. So that was fun. And then unfortunately, the personalities, the things, look at women want to get married. Women want to have kids. This is something that is like innately in many of us that we want to do. And we had a big problem because in Las Alondras, our trumpet player wanted to get married and she wanted, to have a life. And sometimes the other part of being a musician, a female musician, is hard because you're working every Saturday and Sunday. So where are you going to go and meet some guy that's going to be like, that's cool, go ahead. We can't go anywhere fun. We can't, date, really, like the Friday night movies or the Saturday fun concerts. You're always working, so that poses a problem for women, I think, in this business. And then, wanting to get married, it's like having a husband that understands that you're not going to be around or that you need babysitting for your kids. I stood on stage till I was 9 months pregnant, and 3 weeks, out of it, I was back, because that's just how I roll. I wasn't going to take us a moment off. But, Las Alondras thrived as long as it could. And it started to, again, start to have this like little hiccup because we needed a trumpet player and we couldn't find one. And that was the other thing. Female musicians over the years have gotten much more abundant. But back then, it wasn't that easy to find an amazing female trumpet player.